chankame kara karishyasiyamam kripa katakshabhajana ananta koti vishnu lokanamra padmajachite himaji japulomaja virincha javara pare apara siddhi digda sat padangulina ke khara kari syasiyama kripa kataksha bhajan Makeshwari Kriyeshwari Swareshwari Shureshwari Triveda Padadishwari Pramana Sasaneshwari Rameshwari Shameshwari Pramoda Kananeshwari Brajeshwari Brajadipe Shiradike Namostute Iti Mamadbhutam Stavam Nishamya Bhanunandini Nirotu Santatam Jana Kripa Kataksha Bhajan Nitadaiva Sanchitam Rupa Kamanashana Navetada Prajenja Suna Mandala Navedna Kripa Karisya Siyamam Kripa Kataksha Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Giri Raja, Jaya Govardhana, Giri Raja, Jaya Govardhana. Jaya Radha Kunda, Jaya Shama Kunda, Radha Kunda, Jaya Shama Kunda, Jaya Radha Kunda, Jaya Shama Kunda, Radha Kunda, Jaya Shama Kunda. Jaya Manasi Ganga, Jaya Manasi Ganga, Manasi Ganga, Jaya Manasi Ganga, Jaya Manasi Ganga. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Goda Haribo, 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 Nitai Goda Haribo, Nitai Goda Haribo, Nitai Goda Premanande.
Agyanam Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksuranilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tudalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha Yang Pravajantam Anupetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayano Virakataruva Juhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravo Banedos Tang Sarva Bhuta Hridayam Monimanatosmi Bhaktya Aparadalakshay Chiptasya Kamadi Tarangamadhi Kripamaitvam Sharanam Prapadyam Brinde Namaste Charanaravindam Tavoivasmi Najivami Tambina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tam Nayamam Charananti Kripayati Yadi Radha Padita Shishabada Kimaparavishishtam Pushti Maryada Yorme Yadi Vadati Chakinchit Smera Sodidasi Trijavare Mani Punktya Mukti Shuktya Tadakyam Shama Sundara Shikanda Sekha Meraha Samurali Manohar Radhika Padatale Nide Swapriya Charana Kinkari Karo Prananatha Vrishabhanu Srimakav Jarasalola Sadapada Tika Paratale Skripastiti Tam Bhajami Rasikendra Shekhara Samvidai Vasane Po Radhiye Prajamahendra Nandan Astu Mohan Tavati Balaba Janma Janmani Marisvari. First, I offer my unlimited obeisance. I think everybody knows it by now, don't you? How many know it by now? You can also study it during the day. First, I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astor to the Sat Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astor to the Sat Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, to our grandfather Guru Sri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj and Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, to all of his divine associates, to all the assembled devotees. And the assembled devotees, Diksha Gurus, who are my Shiksha Guru, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta, Madhav Maharaj, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta, Pan Goswami Maharaj and Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Siddhanti Maharaj. And here we are. Where are we? We are in Jagannath Puri. We are in a village called Putia. And there was a very beautiful little girl named Sachi. Oh, Sachi became Gangamata Goswamini. And yesterday was her appearance day, but we didn't have the opportunity to hear about her. So we're continuing yesterday's festival, where Sripad Madhav Goswami Maharaj discussed the glory of, well, an atom of a glory of Sri Baladev Bijabhusan Prabhu, who saved the Gaudiya Sampradaya. And if you don't remember the details, you can hear it again. Very interesting evidences he gave for Radharani being in the temple with Govinda, and for the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya being a bona fide Sampradaya. So Sachi Devi was a little princess, and she always loved Krishna, and she would play with Krishna deities, Krishna dolls. She wasn't interested in anybody else, even from her childhood. Then, as she grew up, this affection intensified, and when she was about 16 years old, that is, of marriageable age, her parents were worried about getting her married, but she told them that she refused to marry anybody else except for Krishna. She was already married, so there's no use of another married to an ordinary pus, blood, stool, and urine human being. She was so determined that she wanted to go to Vrindavan and meet with her Krishna, and she was determined to go on foot. She was so determined that her father provided a conveyance and like a chariot and escorts. But when she arrived in Vrindavan, she left them all and was looking for her beloved. So finally she met one guru who was in the line of Shamananda Prabhu, and his name was Haridas. And she begged him for initiation. I want the association of Krishna. I want to attain perfection in that. So please initiate me. So he wasn't used to initiating anybody, but he saw how sincere she was, and so he initiated her. Although he was in the line of Shamasundar, Shamananda, he taught her the bhajan following in the mood of Rupa Goswami. Was it? Can somebody check to see if it was in Shamananda or Janava or Gadadhar? Maybe it was Gadadhar. Yes, it was Gadadhar. But he taught her the bhajan of Rupa Goswami. And he said, I'm not going to provide you any place to do the bhajan, because I can't think about that. I'm just so absorbed. So you'll have to find your own place and figure out your meals. So she did that. She didn't mind at all, even though she never walked on bare feet before. But she didn't care about anything. She begged no more than a half or a quarter of chapati at every place. That's called madhu kari. Like madhu is a bee, and a bee just takes a little honey from each flower. So she took a little part of a chapati at each place, or a little of whatever else they had. And she was completely satisfied. She had no electricity, no facility. She lived in a little hut. And Haridas told her that there is a elderly woman who was also very advanced in her bhajan. She was about 50 at the time, not too elderly, 50 at the time. And he put Sachi's hand in the hand of this elderly devotee, just like Mahaprabhu put Raghunath Das Goswami in the hand of his hand in the hand of Sarup Damodar Goswami. So they were living together, and she was doing Madhukari and not caring about anything but her pure bhajan. Then after some years, he told her to go with this other devotee to Radhakund and stay there for some time. This went on for many years, and she wore, Gurudev said she wore worn and torn simple white cloth, though for all her life she was wearing very opulent cloth. Now worn and torn, didn't care, just very simple white cloth. And then when she reached about 50, that other devotee had passed, left her body, and then he ordered her to go to Jagannath Puri. And he said, when you go to Jagannath Puri, that's where you'll reach your perfection. And I want you to establish a temple in the place where Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was converted by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. A simple temple. So she immediately went to Puri on foot, and she built herself her house. She built her own house made of leaves. And she was doing bhajan, and then at night she was giving classes in Ras Pancha Dhyay, which means the 5 chapters in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which were in relation to Krishna and the gopis. There's a couple of Ras Leela itself, Rasa Leela chapters. And then there are other chapters with Krishna and the gopis, like Venu Geet, Brahmar Geet, the Rasa Leela, Pranaya Geet, and Jugal Geet. There are 5 different chapters, and they make the pinnacle, the highest essence of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the essence of all the revealed scriptures. And she was crying when she was giving classes, the audience was crying, and the king of Puri even came disguised as an ordinary person and heard her classes. Then he said, one day he said, I want to give you a donation. She said, I'm not interested in any donation from any king. She wouldn't accept. So this was going on, and one day it became Makara Sankranti. Do you know what happened on that day, what happens yearly? Makara Sankranti is when the sun reaches a certain place on the earth, like there's the equator, then there's the Capricorn, the what of the Capricorn? The line of the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn on the top and the bottom. In the middle is the equator. So when it reaches a certain line, then that is called Makara Sankranti. And on that day, it's a very auspicious day, and millions of people go to bathe in the Ganges. So she also desired, but it was 1,000 miles away from Puri. So she also desired to bathe. But then, at midnight, she saw a big current of the Ganges coming right by her house. And there were millions of people bathing in it. So she also bathed in it. But then all of a sudden, the Ganges is so merciful. A big current of the Ganges swept her away and brought her right to the temple of Lord Jagannath, and went right in the temple and right on the altar of Lord Jagannath. We can't even imagine what that could be like. You're just carried away as if magic. So then the next morning, it was almost time for Mangalartik. And so the pujaris came in to wake the Lord and arrange for Mangalartik. And there were thousands of people, always in Jagannath Puri. We're just waiting for that to happen here, aren't we? As Krishna desires. So, when the pujari saw her, he said, oh, so you're here? Did you come to steal Jagannath's ornaments? You're giving classes on one hand, and you're a thief on the other hand? And she couldn't say anything, because you're not supposed to reveal your bhajan, because then you lose it. She couldn't say, wow, a great thing happened. Ganges swept me into the temple and into the altar room. So she was just silent, but she didn't really care what was going on, because she was so absorbed in Krishna. Like even somebody who's not so high as her, which was Jada Bharat, he was so absorbed in the Lord that when the dacoits came to do a human sacrifice and cut his head off and offer it to Goddess Kali, he also didn't care. And they were putting his head right on that kind of U-shaped thing where you cut the heads, like in a horse sacrifice. And then all of a sudden, Kali herself burst out of the deity, and she and all of her lady consorts took their big hatchets and cut off the heads of the dacoits and drank their blood, and he was just fine. So similarly, she didn't really care what was going on externally. And then that night, the king had a dream. that, what are you doing? She is my potency, my beloved potency. Take her out. Immediately go in a grand procession with golden chariot and horses and men and instruments, and go take her out of the jail and give her a grand procession back to her home. So that the king got, otherwise, if you don't, I'm going to destroy your whole dynasty. So they immediately did that. And then, not only did Jagannath order the king in that way, but he ordered him that you and all of your ministers must take initiation from, now she was known as Gangamata Goswamini because of what happened with the Ganges. And she was Sachi Devi and now Gangamata Goswamini. So the king went to her and said, Jagannath said, I have to take initiation from you and I have to give you some donation. She said, well, he didn't tell me I have to initiate anybody. I'm not interested in initiating anybody. But then Jagannath spoke to her and said, yes, for me, not for you, but for me, you have to give initiation. So then she initiated the king and all of his ministers. And then the king said, I know what you want. I know what you came for. You came to establish a temple for where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had their discussions, and Mahaprabhu destroyed his Mayavad tendencies and gave him pure bhakti. We sang that song, didn't we? From Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. What was that song? Shri Sachinandan Sachi Tanayastakam. Beautiful song about his sannyas lila and his household lila. So he said, I'm going to build that for you. And he did. But where did she live? In that same hut made of leaves. She was so renounced. Then one day, a Brahmana who lived 1,000 miles away, I forget the city, he was taking care of a deity called Syamarani, very beautiful deity of Krishna. And Syamarani appeared in his dream and said, I'm not happy at all about the way you're serving me. Sometimes you give me something to eat, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you put me to rest, sometimes you don't. I don't want to be served by you anymore. I want you to take me to Gangamata Goswamini in Jagannath Puri, and she will take care of me very lovingly. And if you don't do this, I will destroy your dynasty. So he was very afraid. He walked the 1,000 miles. You can imagine how long it took, but they just keep going. That's what they were used to. Like, you see in Bengal and Vrindavan also, all the people, they just go in the cold weather outside and they just pour the buckets on them for their bath because they're so used to it. They can sleep. I remember the first year when Gurudev brought the Westerners, was the first year I went, in about 93, to Bengal, and we got all the guest rooms and things because of our low qualification. And the Bengalis, they were just sleeping on the floor, sleeping in the rain, sleeping under one tent that was a tent that was like 50 feet, remember? Oh, you weren't there. Okay. Huh? Until now they do it. So, where were we? We were walking. So then he said, Lord Jagannath, Syamarani, the deity, personally appeared to me and told me I have to bring this deity to you. She said, I'm sorry. I'm not interested in that at all. I don't have any time for external seva because I'm always absorbed in bhav seva. That means morning till night. and now I'm waking up Radha and Krishna with the other Manjaris, and now I'm bringing her home back to Yavat, and now I'm helping her cook. She said no. But then Syamarani appeared to her, and he said, you have to take care of me. What happened was, because that Brahmin was threatened that if you don't give me to her, I'm going to destroy your dynasty. So he just left the deity. And she had a garden of tulsis, and he just left her there in the tulsi bush. So then the Lord said, I'm here, I'm waiting for your service, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, give me something to eat, bathe me. And so she went there, and when she saw the beautiful deity of Syamarani, who's still there in that temple, she held him to her breast, immediately fell in love with him, and began to take care of him. What happened after that? I don't remember. Yes, I remember. So when the Ganges came right by her house, that lake or pond is still there in Jagannath Puri. And that Ganga there is called Sweta Ganga. Have anybody seen that? It was in Puri. It's a big, big, deep tank of water right near to the temple of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Remember, Vasanti? You did? Good. Yeah, people can take bath there up till today. And so Gurudev said, all the men, whether householders or in the renounced order, should follow the example of Raghunath Das Goswami. He didn't even have time to look in the mirror. He had a wife as beautiful as Miss Universe, but he didn't have any time to look at her. And he said, all the ladies, you should all be like Gangamata Goswamini, not caring about anything material. And he said, because this world is like a burning fire. It's not even like a forest fire. It's like an ocean fire, which is thousands of miles long, and there's no relief. So be like Gangamata Goswami. Then Srila Gurudev started to speak about the Ganga. And he said, Ganga actually has two forms. One form is when, you all know the history of Lord Vamandev, and he took his second step that covered the whole universe and went into reached the causal ocean. And then Lord Brahma took some water into his kamandalu, his water pot. By the way, probably the water pots all need to be still polished. Well, it needs to be polished longer and harder. And also the water pot outside where the aswata tree is. Everything first class for the Lord. So, where are we? Kamandalu. He poured water from the causal ocean to wash the feet of Lord Vamandev, who doesn't have quite the potency and all the qualities of Krishna, but he's an incarnation. He's one of the 10 pastime incarnations, or Leela avatars. And then that water dripped, quote unquote, dripped down and went to the heavenly planets in the name of the Mandakini. And then in the middle planets, Bhagirati Bhagavati, Ganga, and in the hellish planets too, as Bhogavati Ganga. And then, of course, you know that Bhagirati, King Bhagarat, did austerities and brought her down to the earth to save his ancestors. Yes? Loud. What? She goes all over the universe. Well, that's interesting. I think that's a Sripad Madhava Maharaj question. Huh? There's a way out. Yeah, let's ask him, but somebody has to remind me or I'll forget. Okay, so, huh? Okay, good. Anyway, so that's a one form, but there's a form that precedes that form, and that is, as I think many of you know, Ganga Devi is originally Ganga Saki, and she's one of the beloveds of Krishna, like Lalita, Vishaka, Radhika, and she was in a kunj with Krishna, and they were both speaking very pleasantly when Srimati Radhika came by, and she said, "Oh, here you are with Ganga Saki." So Krishna became ashamed, and Ganga Saki also became ashamed, and she melted into water. Gurudev said that was like in Prem Sarovara, where Srimati Radhika was feeling separation from Krishna, even though she was sitting on his lap, and her tears made her melted form as Prem Sarovara, as with Krishna, because he was crying too and fainting too when he saw that he couldn't pacify her. So similarly, Ganga Saki melted into this lake or pond in Goloka Vrindavan, but she also kept her original form, just like Radharani kept her original form, even when she melted into Radhakund. I asked Gurudev, how could she melt into Radha? Can you imagine somebody melting? He said, no, it means that her heart melted into Radhakund, into Prem Sarovara. So then one drop of that lake or pond that came from the melting of Ganga Saki became the causal ocean, just like one drop of Mother Yasoda's breast milk became what? Guess. The milk ocean, the Kiradak ocean, on which Kiradakshai Vishnu lies down in a spiritual planet in the material universe. So then, a little bit of that causal ocean was in Lord Brahma's Kamandalu water pot and went onto the feet of Vamandev, which came throughout the universe. Very amazing, interesting. So then he started talking about the Ganges more, and he said that smarta Brahmins who are not devotees, but they're like caste brahmanas, and just like hung up on rules and regulations without understanding bhakti at all. Bhakti. He said that they, including the pandas, the pujaris in Jagannath Puri, they refuse to offer the Ganges water to Jagannath or to other deities because they say that the Ganges became contaminated because it's from the Lord's feet. How can you offer to him to drink? How can you offer to him to bathe on his head? But Gurudev said such people are very foolish because, what is that verse in the Brahma Samhita? Angani yasha sukalani amena tistan. All of Krishna's limbs, like his hands, his legs, his head, his eyes. They can all do the function of each other, like we offer boga to Krishna's feet. But then he eats it with his mouth. He can eat with his feet as well. All of his limbs can act for each other. So Gurudev said, all these people are foolish, and they're not making benefit for their so-called worship, that they consider Ganga as contaminated. And then he said, prasadam also is never contaminated. Like, oh, that's juta, that person ate it. Now it's juta, it's contaminated. I'm not going to touch it. But right from Krishna, the prasad, yes, I'll take that. He said, actually, prasadam is never contaminated either. Mahaprasade Govinde. Oh Mahaprasad, you are none different from Govinda. You are none different from Nama, from the holy name. Not different from all the pure Brahmanas and all the pure Vaishnavas. So I know that whatever they can give me, you can also give me. So although Mahaprasad and Nam and Vaishnavas are non-different from Krishna, they have a speciality. And that speciality is that they're more powerful and more merciful than Krishna. Because Krishna, Radharaman Bihari, they're not going to step off the altar for me and talk to me like Gauridas Pandit's Gaurnatai stepped off the altar, came back, turned into the deity, turned into the walking deities, and spoke with him. But they're not going to do that for me. But prasadam comes to me, and the Vaishnavas come to me, pure Vaishnavas, and the holy name comes to me. And I can't chant it purely, but it comes, and the beginning is there as Nama Parad, Nama Bas. So they're more powerful and more merciful than Krishna. Although, because we're beginning devotees, we have the rules and regulations that you cannot go on the altar once you've eaten, once you've honored prasadam, unless you take bath and put on clean clothes, right? But that's only for neophytes. Not, we can't imitate, so we can't imitate. But for advanced devotees, though they set an example for the neophytes, they never consider prasadam to be contaminated. So they may set an example and wash their hands, but that's just an example for us. He said if Sukadeva Goswami were to get prasadam, he would take that prasadam and put it all over his body, considering himself purified from that. As you remember, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Nityananda, Prabhu, and Advaitacharya were having a mock argument, saying bad things about each other, which was actually a glorification. This is in the beginning of Madhya Lila. And so finally, Nityananda Prabhu threw prasadam at the legs of Advaitacharya, who immediately began dancing that the Mahaprasadam had touched him. So, in that way, Gangamata Goswamini ki jai. Tariya Avibhav Titi Mahamahotsav ki jai. We won't go to hell if somebody takes our remnants, if we don't know about it. There's one bhajan where the acharya is singing that Want to find it? Let's get a microphone for Tirthapad Prabhu.
If I consider myself to be superior to all, and give my remnants and so forth to others, the weight of my false pride will become very heavy. Thus, always remaining in the mood of your disciple, I will not accept worship from others.
I won't think I'm guru. I won't give my remnants thinking, yes, all these people are going to become pure by my remnants. That will send me to hell. And if I happen to have a disease, the person will get the disease unless they're transcendental. We have to follow so many rules and regulations that pure devotees don't. Like if a pure devotee offers his obeisances to a deity, then he can install the deity like that. It means automatically the deity is there. Any other questions? Oh, and whenever Gangamata Goswamini would give class, because now in Jagannath Puri, as her Gurudev said, there you'll reach perfection, she would always weep, and all of Puri would come and hear her classes, and they would all weep. Any other questions? You take the mic. Can you teach everybody where you find all these flowers?
This is from Peter. I gave him yesterday two groups.
What?
There is one florist.
Oh, a florist.
Oh, yeah.
Every time we pass by, we speak a little bit.
Nice.
And he said, "Let us have friends." And then I gave him two groups, small groups. And he again gave us the few. When there's festival, he gave some flowers. And
Yeah, Vasanti and another devotee started to arrange that. Yeah. Huh? Yeah, bring him prashadam. Okay. Yes, any questions?
Yeah, I was gonna ask regarding Ganga. Ganga is when she comes to the universes, she was reluctant. She didn't want to come, and then she got convinced by I'm not sure who, but saying, "Well, all the saintly people will come and bathe into your water, so you don't have anything to worry." Because it's not like only sinners are bathing there and all this.
Does everybody understand her question? She was also reluctant to come because she said, so many sinful people will come and bathe in me and then I'll get all contaminated by their sins. And then Bhagirati said, don't worry, because pure devotees will come and bathe in you and they'll wipe away all the sins. Pure devotees are very powerful. They're Krishna's mercy manifestation. Any other? If not, we'll end here. Do you have any announcements, Vasanti?
I don't. Who has a question? Okay.
You spoke about spiritual planets. How many planets are there, please?
Unlimited.
Unlimited.
And each of the planets are the spiritual planets called Vaikuntha. Each and every one of them are unlimited. We can't conceive of that. Unlimited in length and breadth. Like you'd imagine if one planet was already unlimited in length and breadth, that there wouldn't be any room for a second spiritual planet. But that's as inconceivable as Krishna is inconceivable. Advaitamachutamanadiranaantarupam Adyanga Purana Purusham Navajovanam Cha. So Advaitam, Krishna is one without a second. Achutam, he's infallible. Anadir, he has no beginning. Anantarupam, he has unlimited forms, and each of them are unlimited. There's no, 5 feet, 3 inches, and this wide and that high. There's no beginning or no end. It's inconceivable. You can go there, just keep going. Yeah. He understood that. I can't believe it. Amazing. Narada Muni planets flies all over the universes. And yeah, he's an example. Siddhas, those who have... Who's ever living on any spiritual planet is mad for his relationship. That's called ragatmika bhakti. That when your atma, ragatmika, when your atma, rag means saturated. Like if you take red dye and you put a white cloth in it, then you pull it out, wring it out, it's going to be kind of saffrony, like that. But you put it in again, wring it, again, wring it. And then finally it becomes red, just like the dye. So that's called ragatmika, when your atma is so saturated with a particular type of love for Krishna that you have an unlimited thirst. No matter how much you get him, you still have a thirst for more. Never satisfied. So somebody who's living in Vaikuntha is not interested in going to Ayodhya or Goloka. The only one who went from one to the other is Gop Kumar, and that's because his particular swarup or relationship with Krishna was as a cowherd boy. So he was just going till he got there. That's not the usual course of events. But for us to show us that this is higher than that, that's higher than that, if your swarup is that, you'll never be satisfied with anything else. Okay, I guess we'll end here. Do you have an announcement? Come here, please.
You can end the stream.
This is our fearless president, Santi Devi Dasi. Go ahead.
Let me just make an announcement real quick.